Hey, this is Tom Nash, and you got to take a look at this thing. This was posted earlier this morning and went completely viral. This is a chart that basically compares Tesla to the rest of the auto industry, showing how ridiculous Tesla valuation is, visualizing the insanity, as it says. Basically showing you that the market cap of all these auto manufacturers is under $1 trillion, and Tesla is over $1 trillion with a fraction of the gross revenue of all these manufacturers, while they're bringing more than $1.6 trillion in revenue. Tesla only brings in $53 billion. That's supposed to show you how shit Tesla is, how the insanity of the valuation is driving the stock market into this really horrible trade, etc., etc., etc. Now, this is an old narrative, and this is going to be a layup for me. I don't want you to see me. I just want you to look at this screen. So look, there's a reason why you have this huge difference. You know, there's one thing you kind of learn when you start investing is that the market isn't stupid. The market is really good at pricing risks, opportunities, and valuations. Over the long term, it's very hard to stay afloat if you're a complete garbage company. Now, what this presumes to show you is how insane the valuation of Tesla is and how it's completely, unfounded in the revenue structure of the company. Now, what they neglect to show you is kind of what's going on under the hood. So, and yes, the pun was intentional. Think about it this way. All these beautiful revenues on the right, Toyota, $202 billion, Volkswagen, $101 billion, BYD, Mercedes, Ford, GM, BMW, etc., etc., etc. Now, that's a really nice looking car. But if you look under the hood, you're going to find out there's a lot of problems. Now, let me show you what I mean. Now, the first thing I want you to pay attention to is the profitability. And I'm going to highlight two things here. Gross profit margin of Tesla at 27% and EBITDA margin of Tesla at 20%. And let's just round it down so it's easier to remember. So 27 and 20. Now, if you take a look at General Motors, which is on that list you just saw earlier, let's compare. So General Motors is looking at a gross profit of 13.5%, half of Tesla. EBITDA margin is 11.3%, almost half of Tesla. So General Motors, despite making way more cars than Tesla, way more revenue, is at one half of the margins of Tesla, which is not even fully ramped up yet. Imagine that. Now, it's not a General Motors kind of problem. If you go to Ford, you're going to get the same result. Let me show you. Let's go to Ford, and you see it. Gross profit margin, 11.3%. You remember how much Tesla had? 27. This is even worse. 11.3%. EBITDA, almost 11%. That's half of Tesla. So these companies who are making way more revenue and way more cars are at half of the margins of Tesla, which is only producing 1 million vehicles and already doubling the margins of these auto manufacturers. Now, I want you to take a look at this thing also. Look at the revenue growth for Tesla. So revenue growth for Tesla last year was 73%. Next year is anticipated to grow by 53%. And let's compare it with GM again. So GM is looking at a nice 6%, almost 7% last year, and 10.5% next year. Ford, it's not much better, 4.3% over the past 12 months, and anticipated 11.7% next year. That's compared to a 53% by Tesla. Tesla is growing at 5 times faster than these guys, double the margins, and this is the most interesting part. Look at the balance sheet of Tesla. Tesla is sitting on $17.5 billion of cash with about $7 billion of debt, which means its net debt is 10.9, almost 11 billion. When you see a negative here, this 10.9 negative, it means that the total net debt is more on the cash side than on the debt side. Basically, it means that Tesla has $11 billion more in cash than it owes in total debt. Now, this isn't going to look like that if we go to Ford. In the case of Ford, they're sitting on cash of much less than Tesla, 10.4 billion, but look at their debt. because this is about to blow the socks out of you. Total debt, $135 billion. You're getting this, right? So total net debt is 106.9. So $107 billion negative. They have $107 billion less cash than debt. Explain to me how this company is supposed to win. Now, things are not really much better for GM as well. If you look at GM, look, they're sitting on $12 billion, again, less than Tesla in cash. And look at their debt. Total debt, again, you're going to be blown away, $110 billion. So again, negative, or rather in this case, positive, 90 billion. So they have 90 billion less in cash than they have debt. So these companies are dragging a massive, massive debt. And don't think that things are different for Toyota and VW. They're also operating with massive debt. So massive debt, and the margins on VW and Toyota is, again, half of Tesla's. They're not as good. So all these companies are operating at less margins with, in the case of Toyota, for example, a company that makes 10 times more cars than Tesla. So not as good margins, not as good growth. And obviously the financial structure is in the toilet. These guys owe a lot of money. And now you understand why the market is pricing Tesla as good as all of these guys combined. Because in about 5 to 10 years, all of this list you're seeing on the right, for the most part, is going to be either out of business, consolidated, some sort of restructuring. Something is going to happen. So most of these guys on the right, with the exception probably of BYD, is the only one that will probably survive. All of the other ones will have to figure out a way to survive and pivot, because as an auto manufacturer, their days are numbered, and the market knows that. Now, you can call it insane, but I call it smart. See you in the next video.